Okay, we're going to look at some rearranging the equation of a straight line. So that allows us to identify the gradient of the straight line and the y-intercept being where it cuts the y-axis. Okay, so remember that the basic form for the equation of the straight line is y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient. So that's one of the things we're going to be looking for. And the other thing that we're looking for is the y-intercept, which is where the straight line cuts the y-axis. So in this example here, if I was to say that that was cut at 3, then the y-intercept would be 3. And remember that the gradient is a measure of the steepness of the line. So, quick easy example to get going. Identify the gradient in the y-intercept given y equals 4x plus 3. Well, the equation's in the form y equals mx plus c. We can see clearly that the gradient is 4 and the y-intercept is 3. So that's no problem, that's dead easy. Okay. Example 2. Let's say we had y equals 3/2 x minus 7. Okay, dead easy again. There's the gradient and there is the y-intercept. So the gradient is 3 over 2. That's the value in front of x. The y-intercept is, well, it's not 7, it's definitely minus 7. Okay, in example 3, y equals 5x minus 1/3. Okay, so the gradient is 5 and the y-intercept is minus 1/3. Okay, straightforward. Okay, example 4. Example 4, 3y equals 6x plus 9. Okay, so this time we can see that the gradient is, well, is it 6 and the y-intercept is 9. Okay, that's not correct. Now, the reason being is that that equation is not of the form y equals mx plus c. Now, for the equation to be the form y equals mx plus c, it needs to start with y equals. Now, we can see that this one starts with 3y equals, so it's not of the form y equals mx plus c. So what we need to do is manipulate the equation to get it so that it is of that form. Okay, so what we need to do then is to bring this down to just y, and that means dividing both sides by 3. So if we've got 3y equals 6x plus 9, divide both sides by 3, 3 divided by 3 brings that down to y, and then that would be 6 over 3x plus 9 over 3. We can now simplify that down. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so that's 2x, and 9 divided by 3 is 3, so 2x plus 3. Now we can pick out the gradient and the y-intercept. The gradient is 2 and the y-intercept is 3. Okay, example 5. Y equals 7x minus 11. Okay, is it of the form y equals mx plus c? Well, it starts with y equals, so it definitely is. And m is equal to 7 and c is equal to minus 11. Okay, so that's just to remember, thinking about that as y equals mx plus c. M is equal to 7, c is equal to minus 11, straightforward. Okay, example 6. Y equals 12 minus 5x. Well, is that the form y equals mx plus c? Well, it kind of is, but let's just rearrange it a wee bit. Let's get it in more familiar territory, which is to put the x term first and then the number term last. So that'd be minus 5x plus 12. Okay, the gradient is minus 5 and the y-intercept is minus 12. Okay, example 7. Example 7, 3y equals 12x plus 15. Okay, so is the gradient 12 and the y-intercept 15? No, because the equation is not of the form y equals mx plus c. So if I want it to be y equals mx plus c, I'll need to get rid of that 3, and that means dividing both sides of the equation by 3. So 3y divided by 3 is y. So I've got 12 over 3x plus 15 over 3, so I need to divide everything in the equation by 3. So 3y divided by 3 gives me y. 12x divided by 3 gives me 12 over 3x, and 15 divided by 3 gives me 15 over 3. I can now simplify that down because 12 divided by 3 is 4x, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. I can now pick out the gradient and the y-intercept. There's the gradient, there is the y-intercept. M is equal to 4 and C is equal to 5. Final answer. Okay, example 8. Okay, let's look at ones that are just maybe a wee bit trickier. And what about 3x plus 2y is equal to 7? Okay, we need to rearrange this thing so that it looks like y equals mx plus c, at which point rather I can pick out the gradient and the y-intercept. Okay, so I need to have y on the left hand side and everything else on the right hand side. So let's first of all bring that 3x across and change its sign. So that would be 2y equals 7 minus 3x. And let's just do a small thing here, which would be to put the minus 3x here and this 7 here. So I'm virtually doing nothing there, but just tidying up a wee bit so it looks a wee bit more like this. Okay, so it needs to be y equals. So I need to now bring the 2 down and divide. So divide everything by 2. So the minus 3x gets divided by 2 and the 7 gets divided by 2. Okay, it's now in the form y equals mx plus c, and I can see that the gradient is minus 3 over 2 and the y-intercept is 7 over 2. So m equals minus 3 over 2 and c equals 7 over 2. Final answer. Okay, let's just look at several of these now. So let's go for 5y minus 3x is equal to 1. Okay, so I need to have it in the form y equals mx plus c. It needs to start with y equals. So let's first of all bring that across, and that will be 5y equals 1 plus 3x. Change side, change sign. Again, I'm going to do virtually nothing, but just put that there and put that there, and that will be 5y equals 3x plus 1. Let's now divide through it by 5 so that it's starting with y equals, and that will be 3 over 5x plus 1 over 5. Okay, there's the gradient, there's the y-intercept. M equals 3/5 and c equals 1/5. Okay, another one, example 10. 4x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so it's just a wee bit of a mess, so let's just try and tidy it up and have only y equals on the left hand side. Okay, so we're going to bring the 4x across, it becomes minus 4x. When we bring the 1 across, it becomes minus 1. And want to have it in the form y equals mx plus c, so I need to divide through by minus 2. Okay, so y equals minus 4 over minus 2x minus 1 over minus 2. Now remember that if you multiply two negatives together, you get a positive, but similarly, if you divide two negatives, you also get a positive. So, negative 4 divided by negative 2 will give me positive 2. And then negative 1 divided by negative 2, that will just turn into a positive, and I'll just leave that as 1/2. I could write 0.5, but 1/2 is just as acceptable. Okay, there's the gradient, there's the y-intercept. So the gradient is 2, the y-intercept is 1/2. So let's just go over that one again. So we want to rearrange so that it's y equals mx plus c. So it needs to start with y equals. Okay, back up to the original equation. And it was 4x minus 2y plus 1 equals 0. Let's first of all get rid of that 4x onto the other side, and when I move it to the other side of the equal sign, it becomes minus 4x. Then move the plus 1 to the other side of the equal sign, it becomes minus 1. I've still got the minus 2 in front of y, so I need to now divide by that minus 2. Minus 4 divided by minus 2 is 2, and minus 1 divided by minus 2 is plus 1 over 2. The gradient is 2, the y-intercept is 1/2. Okay, example 11. Let's go for 3x equals 5y. Okay, now just to get going, why don't I swap these over? And again, that's virtually nothing I'm doing, but just immediately getting the y term on the left hand side of the equal sign, 5y equals 3x. Okay, remember that I want it to start with y equals. It's almost there, it's 5y, so I need to divide through by 5, and that's 3/5 x, y equals 3/5 x. Okay, is that in the form y equals mx plus c? Well, I would say yes. Well, where's the y-intercept? There doesn't appear to be one. Well, that just means that the y-intercept is 0. So c equals 0. I could write the thing as y equals 3/5 x plus 0, which would maybe make it clearer, but I don't really need that. So c is definitely equal to 0, and I can see that the gradient is definitely 3/5, m equals 3/5, c equals 0, m equals 3/5, final answer. Okay, so let's try one final example and go for 8y minus 3x is equal to 5.4. Okay, so let's bring that across. 8y equals 5.4 plus 3x, and let's just put that there and that there. 3x plus 5.4. It can be tempting at that point to say the gradient is 3 and the y-intercept is 5.4, but it's not the case because this doesn't start with y, it starts with 8y, so I need to divide through by 8. Okay, so I've now got the gradient is 3x and the y-intercept is 5.4 over 8. Okay, so the gradient 3x, well, it's fully simplified. Can I do anything with this 5.4 divided by 8? Well, maybe, so let's just have a go. So I've got 5.4 and I'm going to divide it by 8 and line up the decimal point. Okay, so 8 into 5 does not go. Okay, so let's put up the 0 and carry that 5 on. I then get 8 into 54. 8 into 54, well, 8 into 48 goes 6 times, and that's a remainder of 6. Got a trailing 0 here. Okay, 8 into 60. Well, I can go up to 56, that would be 7 with a remainder of 4, another trailing 0, and 8 into 40 goes 5, 0.675. Okay, so the gradient then is 3/8 and the y-intercept is 0.675, final answer.